we now speak to political analyst Thamsanqa Malinga, and he joins us via our video link. Thamsanqa, thank you so much for joining us here on SABC News this evening. Of course, the ANC says preparations for its January 8th statement are in full swing. How significant will this statement be come next year in 2024?
Well, this is a litmus test for the ANC in that it marks 3 decades since the democratic dispensation and 3 decades since it took power. And, there has been many cries that, for 3 decades, there hasn't been much change. So this is one of its litmus tests that it needs to now prove itself as to what it has done for the past 30 years. We've seen since September that the ANC president and his national executive and his top 7 have been crisscrossing the country with their election manifesto review. So there's the January 8th statement of 2024 is going to be a very big one, in the sense that they have to now account not only for what the Ramaphosa term has been, the 2 terms of President Ramaphosa have been, but for the 3 decades that the ANC has been in power in the Republic of South Africa.
In terms of, I like the fact that you touch on that manifesto review. Can we expect the January 8th statement to be the ANC's manifesto launch already? I mean, it will be a very busy year for the party, and they've conducted these reviews over the past couple of months. So clearly, one would say that as we await that January 8th statement, one can also take it as the ANC's manifesto.
I don't expect it to be a manifesto launch. One thing that I've noticed with all their January 8th statement is that they tend not to differ much. I've looked at this year's January manifesto, this year's January 8th statement, and I had an opportunity to analyze it in great detail, and it didn't differ much from the previous years. What President Ramaphosa delivered this year didn't differ much from what he delivered the previous years, and from what his predecessors, especially what President Jacob Zuma had delivered in his previous January 8th statements. It didn't differ much. So I don't expect anything to differ that much in terms of the January 8th statement, but there will come a time when they will have to have a proper manifesto launch. I think they have also indicated that they will have a rally at Moses Mabhida, where they will launch, they will have, I think that will be their manifesto launch. They will, where they will prepare, and then they will have a Siyanqoba rally at FNB. So the January 8th statement will not be a manifesto launch as such.
And, one would say that the ANC or the ANC government, I mean, they've been criticized a lot, especially over the more recent past. And that's because of the continuous load shedding being faced by South African service delivery issues, water challenges. Clearly, when they deliver this January 8th, they have a huge task ahead of them.
Yeah, I think in terms of their manifesto, that is what's going to be a challenge. In terms of their January 8th statement, those are the things that they always mention, and they regurgitate them. If you go through most of their January 8th statements, they always regurgitate those issues, and the issue of renewal, the cadre, the renewal of the cadre, the issues of going back to communities, they regurgitate those. But when it comes to the time when they have to now launch their election manifesto for 2024, they will be touching on those issues that have been, hot issues in terms of what's happening in communities, the issues of electricity. That's the one issue. The issue of water, the issue of the poverty that we're seeing in the Eastern Cape. Jobs, those are the issues that will be very topical in terms of their manifesto coming for 2024.
And you speak a lot about the ANC's manifesto, and as somebody who's looked at the ANC's January 8 statement for the past couple of years, what would you say are your key expectations from that January 8, even though you say that it's a statement that is often really pretty much the same?
I think what they will be touching on is the fact that they have done well for the past 3 decades, which is what is coming out of their manifesto review, which is what they are really now trying to push. What will be a key highlight in their January 8 statement is that for the past 30 years, they have met the expectations that they have set to themselves as the ANC in terms of delivering to the people of South Africa. If you've looked at the messages that are coming out of the manifesto review, those are the messages that they are now trying to drive in terms of saying, we have looked at ourselves, we have looked at what we have promised the people, and we are proud of the fact that we have met all those objectives. So the messages that will be coming out of the January 8 statement, and which will feed into the manifesto, is the fact that as the movement that has been here for more than 100 years, we are proud of the fact that for the 30 years that we've been in power, we have met the expectations of the people of South Africa, and we are pledging that in the next coming years, we will be continuing to fulfill the needs of the people of South Africa. Those are the messages that they will want to put across on January 8 coming next year.
And Thamsanqa, we know that the ANC usually rotates its January 8 statement, and it moves from province to province each year. Maybe any significance to why Mbombela this time around, why they've selected Mpumalanga province? Well,
I don't know. They haven't been that much open in terms of it, but I think they were looking at the provinces that they've been. They've been to Mangaung, where they founded the ANC. They've honored Moses Mabhida at their NEC, and hence they will be kicking off their campaign at Moses Mabhida as well, and they always wrap it up at FNB, and now they feel that they need to also take it to the outskirts. So maybe it's also trying to say to the other communities out there that the ANC hasn't forgotten the people that are on the periphery. So it's maybe because of that reason. So they haven't attached much significance to it. The ANC is always a party that tries to attach history to what it does, but in this instance, they haven't been open in terms of the history of why the province, but it's maybe now in terms of saying we are always a party that is for the people, so we are not forgetting the people that are out in the periphery.
Thamsanqa, thank you so much for your time and for that insight in terms of the ANC's January 8 statement.